Anne is a 14-year-old girl who is experiencing difficulties in her life. She is suffering from cerebral palsy. Anne is an only child to recently divorced parents, Mary and Anthony. Due to the separation, Anne is now living with her mother, Mary, in a new town. The move from rural to urban has been difficult for Anne. Anne is currently attending Loretto Convent, which is a local community school. Loretto Convent is an all-girls school in which Anne finds it difficult to adapt to as she was previously attending a small mixed school. As a result of certain students not being aware of her disability, Anne is getting bullied by her classmates, which led her to start skipping school. Due to Anne's disability, she has poor coordination and difficulties with communication. While Anne's symptoms became more noticeable over the first few years of her life, her underlying problems do not worsen over time. At birth, Anne was assessed by the Disability Assessment of Needs and was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Anne is finding it difficult to adapt to her new routine. Anne feels she is a burden on her mother as her mother has the responsibility to care for her by herself. Anne's principal rang her father as it is his number that is on her records from her previous school. Anthony is extremely angry at Mary as he feels she is to blame for Anne's absence in school. The principal stressed to Anthony about Anne's grades as they are rapidly decreasing, which may affect her self-esteem. They called a parent-teacher meeting to discuss the possible changes to be made. However, during the meeting it became quite difficult for the principal as Mary and Anthony had an argument. Mary and Anthony agreed to speak to Anne together to ensure their child's education will improve so that she will have the opportunity, like any other child, to go to college and get a good job one day. Hi everyone, I'd like to welcome you all to this Meitheal meeting. I'd especially like to welcome Mary, Anne's mother, to this meeting. Anne is unable to attend this meeting as she doesn't feel comfortable being here. I would now like to introduce everyone here. My name is Meitheal. I am the coordinator for Meitheal.
I'm Jessica and I'm the homeschool liaison officer here in Loretto.
Hi, my name is Laura and I'm a special needs assistant in Loretto Convent.
Hi, my name is Eileen and I work for Donegal Youth Services.
Hi, my name is Mary. I'm Anne's mother.
Now, before we go any further, I'd like to state the principles of the Meitheal meeting. Mary, no action will be implemented without your consent. Nothing will be shared without your consent also. We have agencies and services invited here to participate in the Meitheal process to provide support to you and Anne and to provide their perspective and input. So first of all, Mary, would you like to explain this issue from your point of view?
It's been difficult due to the separation and of course the move from a rural area to an urban area for Anne. It makes it especially difficult for Anne transferring to an all-girls school, a new school in the middle term. She's finding it difficult to mix in with peer groups and she's finding it difficult socialising.
I've been a special needs assistant the past couple of weeks since joining the school. I've been in contact with her ex-mate from her old school. I've noticed lately that Anthony is isolated from girls in the class. There was an incident in the canteen last Friday. I'm sure she told you about that.
She did, yeah. She came home Friday evening after school. She was very upset and she wasn't going to tell me about it. She wasn't eating that evening, but I eventually got it out of her, and basically what happened was she was in the canteen and these girls came up to her, tried taking her lunch money and just calling her awful names due to the disability.
Yeah. I've also noticed that she's missed an awful lot of class in the last few weeks as well. I'm guessing it's due to the bullying that's going on.
She just doesn't want to be put into that environment where she's being picked on, basically.
Yeah, I've noticed that she does seem quite down after most classes, and it's obviously due to her classmates not being fully aware of her disability. And I think it would be beneficial to educate the other girls on cerebral palsy so they know what they can and can't say to her and just things like that. And we should arrange a class soon to get them educated on it.
And Mary, how are you feeling yourself?
Anne is noticing that I'm a bit down and she's starting to feel that she's a burden on me, and I don't want her to feel like that, but she's not. And I'm feeling a bit isolated as well because I don't know many of the parents here. I don't know anybody really in this new area.
Well, in relation to you feeling isolated, we here in the school have a parents group that meets on the first Friday of every month. And it just gives the parents an opportunity to be involved in their child's education and have a say in what's going on. It also helps the child feel not so alone in the school environment if their parent is involved. So maybe if you want to attend that, I could set you up on the school system to receive alerts as when we're holding these meetings and you could attend.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
Another thing is, due to your recent separation, I imagine you're struggling quite a bit, and we here in the school have a strong link with the family community centre here, and they just offer support for parents that have recently separated, and they can give you advice on money management and how to deal with Anne's changed behaviour due to the situation and stuff like that. Would you like me to go ahead and set up a meeting?
I would, yeah. I think that'd be very helpful.
And the last thing is to do with Anne. Just I think that maybe if we got in touch with the services here in town, that would benefit her a lot more than dealing with it within the school, as we have worked with them before. We've had brilliant results, and we still have children attending it at the minute. And there's special groups set aside for children dealing with separations or disabilities or anything she might be struggling with. Arlene works with these services here in town. Maybe she could explain it to you a little bit more if that's what you would be interested in.
Yeah, that would be definitely.
Well, before you continue, Arlene, Mary, would you find these services that Jessica has suggested useful?
I think they'd be very beneficial towards me and Anne. Both, I think they'd be very helpful.
That's good.
Well, Donegal, his services work with people aged between 8 and 30. For Anne's situation, I would suggest our programme of teen talks. This can be as part of a group or one-to-one meetings that Anne would have with youth workers. It's based for children with parents that are separated, so it might highlight issues that Anne is having at home or in school. To deal with the issue of the bullying that is occurring in school, I would suggest our cyberbullying workshop. The workshop would run over a week in Anne's school, and we'd look at the problems associated with social networking, and we'd also show you the points that might suggest that Anne is being bullied on social network sites. This might also make people more aware of Anne's disability and allow them to see what Anne can deal with, and that they should just be a bit kinder towards her because of her disability. Another thing for Anne that I would suggest would be our fun educational programme. We run homework clubs from 4:30 to 5:30 weekdays that Anne could attend. This would allow her to meet with a group of people outside of the school, so that she would have friends and she wouldn't feel alone when she goes home in the evenings. If you're interested in any of these, I can give you leaflets at the end because I know it's a lot of information to take in.
That would be perfect. They all sound very beneficial towards her. I think that'd be very helpful.
Yeah, I think Anne would benefit from if she started to even attend some of the meetings.
Perfect.
So with Jessica suggesting the drop-in clinics for yourself and Arlene suggesting the fun educational services, would you consider these to be of benefit for you and Anne?
Yeah, I do.
That's good. Does anyone have any other questions? Well, we can finish this meeting now and reschedule for next week at the same time. That's okay with everyone?
Perfect. I'll ask Anne if she comes to the next meeting.
Yeah.
It'd be helpful if she
I
was
think
here.
it would be helpful if Anne attended to see what youth services she can attend by her
Yeah.
choice.
And then you can explain them to her more in detail.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks for attending and I'll see you all next week.
Thank you.
So do you want to take some questions?
Arlene, have you any educational support programs for Anne?
As the youth services in Donegal, we provide a daybreak programme. This is extra educational classes that Anne could attend outside school. Because she has been missing school, her grades might fall behind. So we'd suggest that she'd attend these at least 3 times a week to try and keep up with her studies.
Mary, how have you addressed the issue of Anne's absence?
Well, we've tried to include Anne in this meeting by speaking to Mary about the issue. We've also given Mary the opportunity to speak on behalf of Anne.
Laura, what extra activities would you do with Anne to include you in the class?
I think more group work in class would definitely help Anne to be more included with the other grades, such as group work within the art classes and different kind of sport activities that she could partake in PE classes.
Jessica, what do you hope to achieve from this meeting?
Through the Meitheal meeting, that Anne becomes more integrated in school and that she settles out and starts to make friends, and we hope to provide Mary and Anne with the support they need.
Mary, did you notice a change in Anne's behaviour before moving?
No, the changes really only started once we were separated and we moved to a rural area to an all-girls school in the middle of term, and then the bullying started, and that's when our change started. Stopped eating.
She's lost her own weight, hasn't she? Yeah. Can I ask a couple of questions? Just in relation to the bullying. So you talked a lot about the sort of how you're going to help Anne with the bullying. Do you think there's another perspective you need to take in relation to that?
Deal with the people who's doing the bullying, maybe.
Have bullying workshops about.
Yeah, because bullying, it's not just about trying to fix the person who's being bullied.
Yeah.
You know, there's a kind of dynamic, and so there's maybe it's important to be aware of that there's a whole school approach to the bullying, rather than just like you're being bullied, you're the problem. Do you know what I mean? Because that's one thing. What about in relation to Anne's disability as well? Do you think there's anything you can do in relation to that?
In the youth services, she might need extra help, or maybe the one-on-one team talks would be better for her.
And what about in relation to the bullying as well? I'm thinking about not just Anne, because I'm just aware that a lot of this focuses on trying to sort of, whilst it's about supporting Anne, it's not just about sort of fixing Anne. You see what I mean? Because a lot of the stuff that's coming around is trying to maybe address. So is there anything you could do maybe in the school that might help?
Well, they should hold classes to tell everyone about different disabilities that could be in the school, and make them more aware, and that they wouldn't feel like they're as isolated at uni.
So they could start to raise awareness around it, yeah. Now there'd be need to be sensitive around not kind of making Anne feel like she could, exactly.
Like
Need
she's
to balance that, So there's maybe a need to. So how could you do that? Do you think? Because you don't want Anne to sort of suddenly feel like, oh, I'm being made the centre of attention. No, how could you address it in a way that, so you're talking about it, or you're looking at disability but not?
Well, in professional studies, we were watching a video about different types of disabilities and how they manage. So if you talked more than not just about cerebral palsy, but about other disabilities as well, so that she knows she's not the only one.
And have you done about the medical and the social model of disability? Have you had a look at that? Yeah. So what's the difference? Can you remember about just roughly?
To the social model, people shouldn't see the disability, they should look at the person's ability.
Yeah.
So that the students in the school should really be encouraging Anne to do well in school instead of putting her down all the time and looking at her disability.
Yeah, good stuff. And just one more question. Can you tell me some of the theoretical approaches or concepts that you've used when you're developing this case study?
But we used Maslow because we needed to look at all, to see that all Anne's needs were met, so that Anne could actually reach her full potential. Because she obviously wasn't feeling safe in school, and that's why she didn't want to attend. So that was holding her back from reaching her goals.
Any others?
Grumpy prayers. I felt that she was part of the corona system from when she moved to
If you don't remember the name, it's fine. Which
Yes,
bit? Just describe the room.
Yeah, Erickson's when she moved from the different towns, she felt like that she wasn't really fitting in and that she couldn't really find herself.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was really difficult for her, and attending new schools and just kind of adapting to everything.
So the environment was changing, so
Yeah.
you needed to take that into consideration. Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, anyone else any questions? Do you want to say anything else? No. Okay, thanks very much.